Chapter 1043. Suddenly, the ancestor lifted the historical halberd. Time seemed to pause in the palace. Everyone was shocked to discover that they could not move. That included Wilbur. He was attacking the ancestor in a weird position, but his weapon stopped at the chest. The historical halberd was unaffected by that. He slashed down at Wilbur. The marble floor underneath shattered into dust before the historical halberd hit the floor. The floor sank and crashed. The cooks were shocked. Their ancestor was deranged, and they were afraid that they could not escape death if Wilbur died. They felt like they would become mindless slaves. Their ancestor would not have mercy on them. They could imagine how tragic their lives would be. A layer of iridescent shield suddenly appeared on Wilbur. A flickering light arrow also appeared behind the ancestor at the same time. All the energy from the historical halberd was absorbed by the dragon's safe haven. The dimensional arrow also pierced through the ancestor. However, the ancestor did not vanish. Weirdly, there was a warm smile on his face. The dimensional arrow slowly vanished. The ancestor also dropped the historical halberd. He levitated in front of Wilbur. He looked at Wilbur with admiration and said, "You're my worthy inheritor." A minute later, the effects of the dragon's safe haven vanished. Wilbur looked troubled and asked, "Sir, why did you do that?" The ancestor smiled and replied, "I cultivated for thousands of years, but I can't surpass it. I was near the age of dying, so I left a sliver of my consciousness in this demiplane. I waited for a worthy descendant." "I'm not your descendant, also. Your descendants became mindless slaves," said Wilbur. The ancestor smiled and said, "Yes, they were not courageous enough to touch the historical halberd. I can't let them out either because they will tell the secret to my descendants. They won't dare to enter this realm again. They couldn't pass the basic test, so they shouldn't be out to embarrass me." "The basic test?" asked Wilbur. The ancestor nodded and replied, "Yes, a test of courage." Wilbur silently agreed. The ancestor was only testing their courage by requesting them to touch the historical halberd. They knew that they would stay in the palace forever if they could not pass the test, so not everyone would dare to try. It was a sign that they were not courageous. Courage was a basic requirement in the dangerous journey of cultivation. The cooks were all failures. "Why didn't you do anything when Joey took your historical halberd?" asked Wilbur. The ancestor laughed and replied, "No one can leave this place without my permission." "Why did you attack me then?" "Because you're righteous and courageous. You possess two good qualities, so I already made the decision to pass my historical halberd and cultivation learnings to you. However, I was curious to know how powerful you are. That's all. You nearly killed me. You wouldn't die, and you surprised me. Take the historical halberd. Everything is in there for you to learn. This place will be closing soon. Go." The ancestor looked at Wilbur with a kind smile. His figure started to fade. Wilbur knew that the ancestor exhausted all his spirit energy in the battle. The dimensional arrow also damaged his spirit energy, so he could not maintain his consciousness any longer. "Ancestor!" cried the cooks as they watched their ancestor fade. However, their ancestor vanished with a smile on his face. Wilbur was silent for a moment. He waved and grabbed the historical halberd. He sensed a powerful spirit energy inside the historical halberd. It was the spirit energy of the cook ancestor. All the secrets should be in there. Wilbur looked at Jude and the others at that moment. Jude and the others flinched. They said, "Sir, take the historical halberd. Just take us out of here. We'll still pay you 100 million, no, $200 million. Suddenly, they heard a feminine voice. "What a show! That was amazing to watch."